Good morning, gorgeous lights. How are we this morning? What's happening? What's going on? All of the things. What is our message for today? What is it that's going on that we need to be aware of? And how can we as a collective best work with that? What is going on? What do we need to be aware of? Okay. Ten of Swords. Okay. So Ten of Swords speaks to us about like things being at the worst that they possibly can be before things get better, right? And we see that through that sun here, right? And the swords are all the beliefs and all of the way we've communicated, the beliefs, the thoughts, all of that stuff, right? So that's what this is speaking into, and it looks like, which is really cool when we see this kind of card, that A, things can't get any worse, and B, it's almost time like for a reckoning, right? Where we will be challenging our own beliefs, looking at things we believed that we once believed. We're actually at that point now where we're like, you know what, I kind of don't really know what to believe anymore, and I'm not sure about how I want to communicate what I would once communicate. So there's a whole lot of change in the way communication takes place. There is a lot of overreaction going on out in the external world, apparently, according to this. So I would say to you, be mindful of how you are allowing all this external stuff to impact you as an individual internally. Is that in fact something that's going to impact you directly? Is there anything that you as an individual can do about it, right? Because remember that it takes 1%, it's only 1% to shift the frequency of the wider collective. So let's focus on that, right? Let's focus on that. When I see a card like this, that's what I want to do, because that's speaking to the external reaction and responses, and also about the beliefs and the way we're communicating. So there might be some change in that. People might start to be seeing that they want to think and be differently, have these different beliefs, right? Start believing in themselves as opposed to something external, right? That's what that is about. So lots of reactions going on today. Now I'm going to have a look at the subconscious piece, and it is shown as the Ace of Cups, which is fantastic, because that kind of is the next step from that, because that's kind of, if you could say, like the death of how something used to be, the death of what we once thought, the death of how we used to communicate, the death of how we used to react, right? So lots of change in that space. And we might see a little bit of things spilt, you know, and we might need to spill some things ourselves in order for us to come back to this. So this is like the self-love, self-respect, and the love that we're willing to share with the world, and the love that we're willing to put out there. So consciously, we're kind of dealing with this, and we're at a point now where we know that things are needing to change. And subconsciously, which is really beautiful, it's about the love. So we're being reminded to come back to that, right? That's fascinating that would show like that, right? So remember, it only takes 1%. So what can you do that's kind for yourself today? What can you do that is kind for others today, despite what's happened or whatever it is that's going on around you? And take some time to get yourself grounded, because that's a lot of swords, right? So that's a lot of air energy, a lot of mental energy, some people feeling mentally exhausted, which is all of what this is, right? So it's okay, come back, let's ground. What is one thing that you could do today that would shift you towards the truth of who you are, right? Which is more that love space. That's truly who you are. So what could you do? Is there some music you like to listen to? Could you dance in the morning before you leave the house, do your thing? Like that alone will shift your vibe, right? Or listen to some really, really feel-good music. There's music now that is created to work with vibrations, specific vibrations. So have a listen into that kind of stuff. Yeah, all kinds of things. What can you do to shift your vibe? Is it, you know, eating well, going for a walk, connecting with your pets? Like, what is it? And do that thing. Do that thing today. Because where you really want to be is here, right? And be bringing that subconscious piece more forward. This, as ominous as it looks, is actually pretty cool, because it says we are at that point. We don't want to believe those things anymore. We don't want to behave that way, react that way anymore. We're choosing not, right? And we might be a little unsure as to what that might look like at this next reinvention, you could say. And it is coming, right? It is coming. And for those that are mentally exhausted, and I know there's a few, get your ass grounded, right? And do the things that you need to do. You maybe need to just take a step back for today. Maybe it's about a mental health day for you today, and that's fine. But it is time that we honoured ourselves and we allowed ourselves to raise our own vibration. We don't need the external bullshit, right? So I hope this makes sense for you today, beautiful souls. From my heart to yours, big, big, big love.